How's it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for week 6 of the PEBA PEBA. That's the Pokemon Elite Battling Association. I don't know what it is. Start again. How's it going, my truant people? Dr. Slacking, the Slacking Doctor, back on Pokemon Showdown for week 6 in the PEBA. That's PEBA. If you haven't seen our battles already up to this point in the season, make sure you go and check them out. The playlist hopefully is linked down in the description below. If not, it's available on the channel. And currently, spoilers coming up, we are 3-2, so we still have a positive record. We are still going positive somehow in this impossibly difficult league. However, after facing Stromful last week, who was undefeated, and we lost, unfortunately, this week we go up against Elliot and the Michigan Mienshao, aka TheOneGuy, who is also 6-0, or 6-0? What did I say we were? If we're 3-2, then no, he must be 5-0. Either way, he's undefeated. Whatever the record is, he's undefeated going into this week. So we had 2 undefeated opponents back-to-back, which is super, super scary. Stromful and TheOneGuy, both excellent players, of course. We have beaten TheOneGuy once in Owl previously, and we cheated a little bit in the ABC off-season. But he has a much better record against me than I do against him. I think he's 3-1 against me at the minute. And once again, this man somehow always manages to get the most broken drafts. So, just quickly, this is a team that I was prepping for. He has Landorus Therian, Superior, Primarina, Drapion, Regirock, Scizor, and that's Mega Scizor, sorry, Mew, Komodo, Darmanitan, Electivire, and last but not least, the Messiah, Masquerain. That is a terrifying team. Lando T, Superior, Primarina, Mega Scizor, Mew, Komodo, Darmanitan. It's a scary, scary team, and this was probably the hardest time I've had building all season. I did not like my matchup in this game, and Elliot, who is a good friend of mine and a great guy, he very courteously kind of said that he had trouble prepping for me too. I struggle to believe that, to be honest, because his team is so amazing. Like, it was very kind of him, but I'm sure he must have had some confidence going into this battle. But regardless, I'm going to run through what we did end up bringing to this game. Once again, for the sort of 3rd week in a row now, my prep was rushed because I just got back off holiday. I had to try and prep quickly to play it the day after I got back, so I literally built the team in the morning, played him in the afternoon. Shout out to my front office for helping me build, giving some suggestions. Sean in particular helping me mock, and Aquarius passing me our Altaria set, which I'll get onto in a minute. But for the most part, this was a pretty thrown together, rushed team. Which I think could have been better with hindsight, but still was very usable. I'm not going to blame the team, or not blame the team, what's the right word here? I'm not going to criticize the team too heavily because it's very much usable. I had a very good chance of winning this in the mocks that I did with Sean. He won the first one, I won the second, so I had I felt like 50-50 chance going into this battle. So here we have Mandibuzz, Old World Mandibuzz, with Foul Play, Toxic, Defog, and Roost. This thing is supposed to be a physical wall. It can potentially take a few hits from the Komodo, depending on the set. It can potentially foul play down a Swords Dancing Landorus, depending on what Z-move it's carrying, because Landorus is his only Z-move user, but it could be Z-Fly, or it could be Z-Stone Edge, which would be a real problem. But we could potentially get him to burn the Z-Stone Edge. And there was just a few things that this was really useful for foul play, but in particular, this was a great switch in for the Mew, and it let me have Toxic to try and wear down the Mew, because Mew, I found in my draft, had a really tough time breaking. So this was one of the best switch-ins and a way of getting Toxic damage on it. Defog, obviously, just to try and preserve for my win condition Altaria later in the game, and Roost for longevity. A little bit of Spadef, just to make sure we could take some hits from Mew, because Mew gets a lot of sort of like Bolt Beam coverage, and that kind of thing that can hit Mandibuzz, but for the most part, this is a physical wall. And you'll see a bit of a pattern here. Next up, we have Wukong the Infernape. This is a Expert Belt mixed attacking set. So we have Overheat, U-Turn, Gunk Shock, Hidden Power, Ice. Overheat was the most spammable move in terms of anything coming in would take a decent amount of damage from this, at least sort of 25%, which doesn't sound a lot, but on things without recovery plus potential rocks damage, that starts to rack up. U-Turn is for a fast pivot out. Gunk Shot to just hit things like the Primarina. In particular, I wanted to hit with that Gunk Shot. U-Turn was for Mew, but it didn't do a lot to me. It did about 30%. But the Gunk Shot, Overheat into Gunk Shot, should kill most Primarina spreads with the Expert Belt boost. So that's really nice. Shout out to Stromful, actually, for this set. Well, not for this set, but for recommending I run Expert Belt, because originally I was going to run Choice Scarf. And then Hidden Power Ice was for the Landorus. The EVs here, basically to speed creep a Mew, I think. Not entirely sure by that spread though, but I think speed creep a Mew, that doesn't look enough to speed creep a Mew. Maybe I was speed creeping Landorus, I'm not quite sure. And then max special attack with the rest thrown into attack just to make sure that poison jab does as much as possible, and that U-turn. Blaze, of course, just to power up the overheat should we be low on health. Then we have How Now, Blue Cow. This week, this was a set I was not comfortable with. Again, the ability change and the spread change was kind of recommended by Stromful. I wanted to bring Thick Fat for the Darmanitan, if I'm perfectly honest, but he recommended highly that I bring Sap Sipper for the Superior, because Superior can be set up as scary. I felt like I had enough checks to Superior. At the time, I had Scarf Infernate, which revenge killed it always. I had Altaria, which takes a few hits, and I had my Nidoking, which I'll show you in a second, could deal with it as well. So I didn't feel like Sap Sipper was essential. However, it is nice to have a switch into Superior. So we did go with Sap Sipper, but it was still a fairly physically defensive set, so that I could still try and take a hit from the Darmanitan, I think, potentially. I'm not quite sure exactly what I was trying to take a hit from. The Electivire as well, if that came physical, this was a pretty good switch in. If I got caught with a superpower, then that would be painful, but I think I had a good chance of being able to just milk drink it off after the attack drop from superpower. A little bit of Spadef and a little bit of speed, just to try and stop myself from getting speed crept anywhere. Stealth Rock, obviously get rocks up, Milk Drink for recovery, Seismic Toss to wear things down, and Heal Bell to try and help out the rest of the squad. You'll see why again in just a second. Then we have Dutchman, the Flying Dutchman, Shiny Jellicent with leftovers, Water Absorb, so we can switch in on the Primarina really easily, which is why this is really Spadef, so that I can take a Specs Moonblast. I can actually recover on Specs Moonblast, which is amazing. Scold, Dazzling Gleam, Sludge Bomb, Recover. I think this was another set that I got slightly wrong. Instead of Dazzling Gleam, I think I should have ran Ice Coverage. Ultimately, I guess I just didn't think about the fact that Ice Beam would also hit Komodo really hard. I just thought, oh, Dazzling Gleam, that's 4 times effective. Great coverage for Komodo, and slapped it on there. Had I given it a bit more prep time and a bit more thought, I think I would have thought, well, Ice Beam still hits Komodo and it hits the Landorus. But, you know, Scold also hits Landorus, so it wasn't the end of the world. It wasn't a bad set. Sludge Bomb, so that I could not only kind of wall Primarina a little bit, but also do damage to it, which I didn't think he would expect at all. And if it was an offensive Primarina, then I really didn't think he would expect to take as much damage as he would from this Sludge Bomb, which would have been super nice. Again, the EV spread just for that kind of thing. Then penultimate Pokemon here, Nico and Nidoking. Choice Scarf, which we've been running for a few weeks now. It's just had the matchups for Choice Scarf. I would like to run a Life Orb set, but we just haven't really had the matchups for that. With Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Ice Beam, and Toxic Spikes. And now this is the key thing, why I'm running Heal Bell, why I've got so many, you know, I've really got Old World, How Now, Dutchman. I've got my bulky kind of core here. The reason being that the best way for me to beat Elliot was kind of semi-stall, I found, to set up T-Spikes if I could, to get a Toxic on the Mew, and to just be really hard to break down, to make this like a 50, 100 turn game, however long it has to go for, to just drag it out, wear him down over time, because offensively, if I allowed this to become a hyper-offensive game, he beat me. Darmanitan, Komodo, Landorus, these things that get set up or just hit super hard to begin with, and I found that I couldn't beat them when I prepped with Sean. But when I played the slow game, when I brought my bulk and I just tried to wear him down, I actually ended up winning. So that was very much the plan, and T-Spikes would be very important in that. Then last up here, we do have Altair, the Mega Altaria, and this set was actually once suggested by Aquarius in my front office, and I think it's pretty awesome. The EV spread I did myself, which I don't think Aquarius would be entirely happy with, but I felt it was the best EV spread for this game and the best moveset. So it's actually a Cotton Guard setup set with Hyper Voice, Flamethrower, and Roost. Now this thing did actually get walled by Soundproof Komodo. However, I didn't think that he would really risk Komodo with this around, and I felt confident of dealing with Komodo with my other things, so I wasn't too worried. I needed Flamethrower to be able to hit the Mega Sizzle, but I also needed Fairy coverage to hit everything else, so this was the best way I felt that I could do that. Basically, I could Cotton Guard on Landorus, I could Cotton Guard on pretty much anything that wasn't Mega Sizzle, and at that point, nothing could really kill me. With this Spadef and this defense, once I got to like +3 and then +6, I just beat everything down eventually, and it was just a really, kind of like Licky Licky in the LTC. It's just a really difficult mon to break. So this was very much my win con. Otherwise, Scarf Nidoking with Earth Power had a good matchup, but I figured that Altair would probably be my win con. I just had to wear things down enough to the point where it could sit there set up and just kind of be impossible to break. Alright, so all that being said, guys, we will hop into battle and see exactly how this match planned out. So here we are, guys, and you can see a team preview that he brought. This is pretty much the team we were predicting. I know I didn't do that in this video because I don't know if you guys like that bit where I tell you the team we're predicting or whether it was better this way where I just kind of read off the roster and then moved on. I don't know which you prefer, let me know. But here you can see he brings the Mega Scizor, the Primarina, the Electivire, the Komodo, the Landorus, and the Mew. Pretty much the only thing I expected to see, which we don't see, is a Darmanitan. One, because he knows I love Darmanitan. It's something I've used a lot, and I thought that he might want to use it against me just for his amusement. And secondly, because I thought it had a really good matchup. In all honesty, I thought Darmanitan did well here, so I was really surprised to not see that. But looking at the team preview, I thought that his likely leads were Mew, Landorus, Komodo, potentially Mega Scizor. I didn't, maybe even Electivire. So he had pretty 5 decent lead matchups. However, if he led with Mega Scizor, I figured that Nidoking scared it out with a potential Flamethrower, although I don't have it. Electivire got scared out with Earth Power. Komodo got scared out with Ice Beam. Landorus got scared out with Ice Beam. And Mew didn't get scared out at all. So against 4 of his potential 5 leads, I felt Nidoking had a good matchup, so I decided to lead Nidoking, and indeed he leads with the Komodo, which I figured, okay, if this is a lead, it's probably Stealth Rocks, so I'm actually just going to fire off the Ice Beam rather than the T-Spikes, which I wanted to get up, but because Komodo was such a potential threat as a sweeper against me, just wearing this thing down instantly seemed more valuable than getting the T-Spikes. I figured I'd try and get my T-Spikes up later in the game. So I just fire off the Ice Beam there, and because we're scarfed into it, we can't do much else. So as he goes out into Mew, we just fire off another Ice Beam, try and get some damage. Maybe he'll let the Komodo go down, which would have been amazing. We get 23% on the Mew here, which tells me that it has some SPDEF investment, not a lot. So predicting him to be, well, I think he had to be max HP and 50 SPDEF or something, so predicting the rest to be in defense. I know that my old world Mandibuzz can take even an Ice Beam from this thing. I think he probably clicked Psychic on the Nidoking, but if he doesn't, then he clicked Ice Beam, and Mandibuzz will still take it, I'm pretty sure, and roost it off. So we go hard Mandibuzz, we take rocks damage, and he actually fires off the Thunderbolt into Nidoking, which, yes, I wasn't doing much to him. I was only doing 23% and he has leftovers, so I can see why he wasn't afraid to fire off the Thunderbolt into Nidoking. But still, it was a pretty ballsy play, in my opinion. He didn't know we were Scarf at that point. I could have whipped out a Super Fang or something to wear him down a bit further, or maybe even just Toxic'd him, which would have sucked for him. But either way, he fires off the Thunderbolt and does 41% with that hit. And with leftovers, we go up to 42%. And I'm fairly confident that that was a decent roll he got on me, so I just tried roosting off. It does show that he at least has some special attack investment, but I think that it would be too much for it not to be a good roll. So we stay in and roost, and the way that he's been predicting, I wasn't sure he would go for another Thunderbolt anyway. And he fires off the Ice Punch into the Mandibuzz as we go out into Miltank, knowing that we could take any 2 hits from this thing, even Superpowers I'm pretty sure I can Milk Drink off. And he goes back out into Komodo, and that says to me that that Electivire is probably Scarf. It should, in my opinion, probably be carrying some kind of fighting coverage, even if it's any Brick Break or something like that. So the fact that he doesn't stay in and click a fighting move or even just Volt Switch out on the Miltank suggests to me that he's almost definitely Scarfed and Scarfed into that Ice Punch, which is why he had to hard switch. So he goes out into Komodo, and here I have a bit of a difficult decision. I consider going for Seismic Toss to wear this thing down, but ultimately I don't want to take a close combat, so I just go out into Dutchman and hope he doesn't make the prediction. He doesn't, in fact, show the Drain Punch. He doesn't make the read this time, which is nice for me. And I'm now free to just fire off a Scold. He goes for the Taunt, expecting me maybe to be Willow or something, but I just try and get the burn here with the Scold. I don't get it. We only do about 13% to this Komodo, and that kind of makes me a little bit nervous. I'm like 13%. That means if I click it again, he gets 2 more hits off. This is a 2-hit KO from this range. Much as I want to fire off a Scold and burn anything that might be coming in, I think I have to click Dazzling Gleam, because if this thing has Shadow Claw, I don't want to take 2 Shadow Claws particularly. So I do go for the Dazzling Gleam, as he makes, well, I'm not entirely sure it was a read, but he goes out into Electivire. We fire off the Dazzle. Had I Scolded here and got the burn, that would have been super nice, because we've already seen this as a fairly physical Electivire with that Ice Punch. But he actually goes for the Earthquake here. I'm guessing that he's trying to make the read that I'm going to Nidoking. So Elliot's actually playing this game really, really offensively, and I'm starting to see a lot of reads coming out, which later on, or at this point, I'm trying to play around. I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to go into Nidoking because he's already shown with the Ice Punch, with a few other things that he's trying to make reads. So we just go out into Hound now. Again, we know we can take most hits. I think we just milk drink up here because there's no reason not to. Just make sure that we're nice and healthy so that we can keep switching in. And the rocks are a little bit annoying for my team, so I go out into Mandibus here on the Scizor. And I would quite like to defog on this Scizor if I can. But he actually just U-turns straight out into Primarina. And knowing that a big Moonblast is coming my way, I have to switch. I can't stay in on that. I don't have the special defense investment. So I go out into Jellicent. One of the key things to note here is that as he fires off his Energy Ball, it only does 38%. So again, he makes the read. Again, he's playing very aggressively. And he's carrying Energy Ball, not Shadow Ball. Which is interesting because I did see Shadow Ball on this thing in mocks. But we didn't see Leftovers pop the turn that this thing came in. So I'm thinking, okay, this is probably either Scarf or Specs. And at the point where he only does 38% to me with Energy Ball, I'm like, okay, this thing isn't Specs. So I'm going to go ahead and assume it's Scarf Primarina. I think it would only be Leftovers, Specs, or Scarf. So that's pretty cool. Scarf Primarina, no worries. We'll take the Energy Ball. He's locked into this now. He can only do 38%, which means I am cleanly just going to be able to fire off a Recover, get back to a decent amount of health, and not have to worry too much about this Primarina touching me. However, he does go for the Moonblast, revealing he's not Scarf. So at this point, I'm really not sure what his item is. I'm thinking maybe it's like Splash Plate, maybe it's Pixie Plate, and he's got extra bulk. I'm really not sure what his item is at this point. It could be a Wiki Berry for potential Luxray. It could be Kebia Berry for potential Nidoking. So I'm just really curious about what this set is. But if it is Kebia Berry for Nidoking, then I need to pop that early so that Nidoking can revenge kill this thing later in the game if it comes down to it. So we do just go for the Sludge Bomb here. We do reveal our kind of tech that we have on this, and indeed he is Kebia Berry, which kind of sucks because it means we only do 15%, showing that he's quite a bulky set, I believe, as well, and he does get the Toxic on me. But I'm fairly confident I'll be able to Heal Bell that Toxic off later with How now, so I'm not too concerned. As we just go for another Scold, hoping to fish for a burn. We don't get the burn again, which is a little bit annoying. Second Scold without a burn at this point, getting a bit frustrating, but it's okay. We can go out to How now, and I believe here is my T-Still Wall. And I believe here that we can just Heal Bell on this Mew, which seems super important to me. Yes, he gets to Roost, but I get to get my team back to health, and his Primarina no longer has his Kebia Berry. So I feel like I'm starting to win this war of attrition a little bit. My team is healthier than his team. His team's kind of tech is being popped and broken. I'm learning more about his team. He's being forced into roosting with his Mew, then roosting with his Mega Scizor. He's kind of being forced into these more passive plays, which I like. And we just recover again with Dutchman to get to full. I think this was unnecessary. I think there I should have scolded, tried to get a burn on the Electivire, but I didn't, unfortunately. Electivire this time actually goes for the Volt Switch and does more than he's been doing with his physical moves. Volt switches out into the Landorus. And here I have a problem. Before the game, oh, actually, we should just reveal... no, we already have. So before the game, I said to Sean, I said, the only thing that scares me in this matchup, now that I have this bulky team that I feel confident with, and this Altaria set, which I feel confident with, the only thing that really troubles me is Double Dance Landorus, because Double Dance Landorus potentially sweeps me. And he said, yes, but if he goes for a Rock Polish first, then on your switch into something, you can break him down. And if he goes for, and he won't have the damage output, or if he goes for a Swords Dance first, then he won't have the speed, and something like Nidoking can come in and revenge kill him. So you'll be okay, which I completely agreed with. So here I have to make a really difficult decision, because if he fires off an Earthquake and I go into Nidoking, I have just lost Nidoking for nothing. If he goes for a Rock Polish and I go into Nidoking, I have just lost Nidoking for nothing. So even though Nidoking is my best way of killing this, it's only if he clicks Swords Dance. I feel like Jellicent is the better play, because whether he clicks Swords Dance or Rock Polish, if he clicks Swords Dance, yes, he kills me, but at least I then come into with Nidoking before he can get a Rock Polish off, so he's just at +2 attack, not +2 speed. And if he goes for Rock Polish, then I can scold him and get the burn before he goes for a Swords Dance, hopefully. That's my kind of thinking. So we go hard into Jellicent here, which kind of sucks that we've been wearing down with rocks. He's made some good plays here, a good switch into Landorus. And indeed he goes for the Rock Polish, and I'm like, cool, this is okay. I fire off a Scold, I'm going to do a healthy chunk. Hopefully I get the burn, and he actually goes for the Swords Dance, and I was thinking, oh my god, this thing is Double Dance. Okay, we definitely need a burn. We don't get one, which is, I think, the third Scold we fired off. We don't get the burn, which kind of sucks. Then he fires off an EQ, and at this point, it's like, okay, Assuming he's Edgequake set, just double dance Edgequake. Stone Edge kills Mandibuzz. Earthquake kills Wukong. Earthquake probably kills Miltank. Just at this range, I think I'm about 5 to 10% off living with Miltank, which sucks. Earthquake kills Nidoking, and Earthquake should kill Mandibuzz. So at this point, I am literally like, oh my god. I have to have him miss Stone Edge here to have any chance of coming back in this game. And if he misses Stone Edge, I feel like I have a decent chance. However, I have lost Dutchman, which was one of the most important Pokemon on the team. So that really sucks. I do feel like I should have doubled into something like Wukong and lost that rather than losing Jellicent. But it wouldn't matter anyway if he connects to the Stone Edge. So we just go straight out into Mandibuzz. And our only play is to hope that he misses, and he's not Z Stone Edge. He isn't Z Stone Edge, but he does connect, which means we can't foul play. And at this point, it's just GG. It's just game over. So we can actually set this to fast now. He Earthquakes down the Miltank. As I say, I think max roll he could do on the Miltank was about 70%, and we had 57, so he would have done that. He crits the Altaria here. Of course, that doesn't matter at all. Nidoking just drops, and of course, Infernape just drops. So we end up losing 6-0. 6-0 to my man Elliot. GG to him. He played this superbly well. I knew Double Dance Landorus had a great matchup against me. He identified that as well. He brought it. He set it up at the right time. And he won with it. You just can't knock that sometimes. It just happens. How I feel about this, I feel like, this is how I'd explain it. I don't feel like Elliot was lucky in any way at all. I think he played superbly. I think I was unlucky in the sense of I fired off several, I think 3 Scolds, didn't get any, and didn't get a Stone Edge miss. Any of those things have a, 20 to 30% chance of happening. The fact that none out of 4 happened kind of sucks because, say I get the burn on the Komodo, then I don't have to Dazzling Gleam it, which means he doesn't know that I'm not carrying Ice Beam, and then I potentially win that way. However, ultimately, whilst I think I didn't get lucky, he deserved to win. Not getting lucky doesn't mean I deserved to win. It means that I didn't. He deserved to win. And if I had prepped better, then I should have had Ice Beam on Jellicent, and this would not have happened. If I'd had Ice Beam over Dazzling Gleam, we potentially could have won this game. I'm not saying we would have done. Elliot as a superb player, and he played expertly well. What I'm going to take away from this game, and I don't know how you guys feel, but I feel like the first 23 turns of this battle, I feel like we slightly had the upper hand, if I'm honest. I feel like we were looking very healthy. We were looking like we just walled him a little bit. We were happy just to pivot around and wear him down. Eventually, I'd have got T-Spikes up, and then I think we would have started to see a bit of a difference. All that being said, we will take this into next week. We will try and bounce back. We will try and make sure that we carry the right moves. This is not the first time in the past few months this has happened to us. If you remember the game in the LTC where we lost to Registeel because we didn't bring Super Fang on Gramble, there have been a few things like this where I've been split 50-50 on moves and I've just taken the wrong option. It's just a learning process, and hopefully we'll be back better than ever next week and we'll be able to pick up a win. This does put us at 3-3 in the PEBA right now, in the PEBA. So we're still running at kind of a neutral record, which for me, I don't think I've ever been 3-3 in a league before. I think this is my best record after 6 games, and it's very, very tight in this league. Next week we go up against my man Todd, who won Season 1, the Season 1 champion. So we've played now 3 Swedes, 2 undefeated coaches, and the Season 1 champion in the first 7 weeks. And somehow, if we can scrape a win against Todd, we will actually have a positive record from that, which I am so, so proud of. Anyway, what I think really matters is performances, and performances, in my opinion, have been reasonable. So we're going to keep learning, we're going to keep improving. I hope you guys have learned something from this or have enjoyed watching this video. Let me know what you guys think. As always, if you have any feedback for how I can improve these videos, do let me know. I don't think I've said that in a while. I kind of got comfortable in what I'm doing, but there's always ways I can improve. So if I can, please do let me know. Whew! I'm sorry about the delayed uploads as well in this league. Hopefully I'll be back on track and these videos will be going up every Sunday from now on, sorry. I think that's everything I have to say. So GG to my man Elliot. Thank you so much for loafing around with me, and I'll catch you again next time.